Hello everyone, welcome back to Royalty Soaps and another mermaid soap. I've made so many mermaid soaps throughout the years. It continues to be relevant to my life, not only because I love mermaids, but then I have a daughter who also really loves mermaids, so it'll probably just never end. Just expect 1 or 2 a year. This time I wanted to make it a low top soap, and I also wanted to put a lot of embeds on the top because I just felt like that was we need more embeds on the tops of the artisan soaps. You know what I mean? It looks good so many different ways, but I'm just really feeling that. So add a little texture, add some embeds, and that's just the way it is. I also really felt like the colors really matched the theme because all of those colors I know I've seen on the floor of a SKATIUM, like 1000%. And so, without further ado, let us make another mermaid soap. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour my Lye Water Solution into my large container. Also, I don't think you guys have any idea how big this container is because it just takes up a nice part of the frame and you don't really have anything for comparison, especially if you've never seen a stick blender before. But my hand is a very large hand. I do not have tiny baby dainty hands. This is like my hand is the size of Caleb's. So you can see all the way back here, it's like almost 2 hands across. So it's a huge container and it weighs a lot. Gonna go ahead and blend it up on high. So the first thing that I'm going to do is pour off our first layer. So this is going to be our sandy layer. Our fragrance oil today is from Nature's Garden. It's called Mermaids at Midnight. And just so you know, I do have a special collaboration for my birthday month with Nature's Garden. It's called the Royalty Pack, and it includes 4 of my favorite Nature's Garden fragrances that I have loved for over 10 years of making soap. So into this container, we will obviously add our fragrance oil, but we're also going to add some 24 karat gold mica and a little bit of apricot seed powder. So you guys know in the past, I have shied away just a little bit from apricot seed because I find it to be really abrasive and really scrubby. However, we have recently just gotten a new supplier for this, and Simeon is buying in bulk, and their apricot seed powder is a little bit finer than the stuff that I'm used to buying, so it kind of makes all the difference really, just to have it finer. You could grind it all up in a coffee grinder or a food processor and get the same effect, and you would still get to have a little bit of scrubbiness, but not that scrubby. All right, let's go ahead and blend up our first layer. All right, so we have our first layer done, and we're gonna go ahead and pour it into our large slab mold. Bloop, 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 just like this. We're gonna make sure, of course, that all of this first layer is even, and then we'll texture it so it will look like a nice sandy bottom of the ocean. Scrapey, scrapey out my little container that I will be using for a different color, so it is important that I get most of it out. So while this layer is setting up, I'm going to mix up the next layer. Okay, so into this first container, we're going to add some hydrated chromium green. This is the primary color in things like Tahitian teal. So it's very concentrated. And speaking of Tahitian teal, let's add a little into this container with some titanium dioxide. And then for the last one, we're going to add in, again, a little bit more titanium dioxide and some purple vibrance. So we're going to have like 3 different shades of kind of like blue-green and then the purple. So this should look really gorgeous. All right, let's go ahead and blend all of these up. We're clearly going to need a little bit more purple in this one. All right. right, so now it is time to add all of these colors into our big container. We're gonna start with the darkest green. Just pour all that in there. I'll just go ahead and scrape it out as well because all these colors will end up on the top of the soap, so it's not a big deal. Next, we're gonna go with the lightest green color right into the middle and scrapey scrapey. Then our medium shade of green into the middle, another scrapey scrapey, and finally our purple right into the middle and another scrapey scrapey. We can go ahead and texture this layer now because it has sat up, and we'll just move our popsicle stick around a bit like this. Because my loaves are vertical to me, I like going side to side like this because I feel like that gives the best cut texture. All right, so now I'm going to plop this on the top. Oh, no, I'm not. It's a little thickums, so I'm gonna have to break the fall with a spatula. And I'm gonna move around very quickly. Hopefully everybody is getting a little bit of every color. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, I can see the purple everywhere. That's the one I was concerned about. It's giving Garnier Fructis 2003. So for the top, I do have 3 embeds per bar, which is crazy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull to the side. That way we have a little spot for the embeds to sit, but also it kind of looks like a wave. And because I know that I will mess up if I don't put some lines here, I'm gonna make some lines of demarcation so I can kind of see where each one of the loaves is gonna be split tomorrow, just like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to give me kind of a general idea. And then I'm going to turn it to the side, and for the ones on the end, I'm going to pull this away. Now, the first embed we're putting on top are these little seashells. They are gold, and then we have dusted them in some 24 karat gold as well, so they'll match the inside of the soap. And right now, Caroline is going to look to see if we have my grid, because I don't know if we do, which is going to make placement for this nigh on impossible, but it's okay. We'll just place these first 8 and see what we think. Oopsie daisies, that could have been better. It could be that some of these end up getting cut, and you know what? That's part of being handmade. Not everything is perfectly centered or perfectly straight. Caroline just brought up an interesting point with me because for those who don't know, Caroline and I are the ones that do customer service. It's mainly her, and we are a family-run small business, so that is not something we are hiring out at this time. And it's always interesting the types of things that come in there, which things are actually customer service related, which things are not customer service related. And one of the things that has been said before, though not often, is people writing in saying that one of their embeds has been cut and they want an entire refund for the entire product because one of the embeds had a sliver off of it. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, it is not the Royalty Soaps guarantee that embeds will ever be completely perfect. Like, we do our best to place them. You guys watch me make these videos and you know that we try to place them as best we can, but again, it's a handmade product and there's gonna be some natural variance. Everything will always meet a minimum weight. That is something we're incredibly particular on, is making sure that you guys are getting as much product as you're supposed to get, so it does have to weigh a certain amount. But yeah, if there's a little nick out of the side, that is just part of being handmade. It's not something coming off of assembly line. It's something that I personally am taking my little fingers and pressing it onto the top of. So it isn't perfect, and that's the way we like it around here. One of our favorite things to see in customer service, though, is people sharing like a testimonial about the product and then sharing a picture of who they gave the product to. We've seen a lot of really cutie pie little kids. We've seen lots of grandparents in there. That's our favorite. We love that. There has definitely been customer service messages that have changed my life. that I've kept because they were so sweet. So for one of the other embeds, we have kind of a hodgepodge of different seashells. So on here, we wanted to make sure that everybody got like the clam looking one. But then I also have some that are kind of swirly. We have some that are kind of long and skinny like this one. So it's just a lot of different types. And I'm just gonna shove them in where I can all the way down this batch. I don't know how I thought I was gonna fit all of these on here. I think one of the hardest things that I've learned having a business is that the customer is not always right. In so much that errors do get made sometimes. And let me tell you, we have some of the nicest customers ever. So I don't even feel like what I'm about to say applies to me personally all the time, but I have seen some like horror stories of people opening up PayPal cases against small businesses and demanding refunds for products they have definitely received, etc., etc. And I just didn't know that that was a way that people kind of took advantage of small shops until I had one. And like I said, this is exceptionally rare for royalty soaps, but there are some small shops that I feel like are like targeted by people like that, and they just demand refunds for really tiny, non-existent problems, and that is just such a difficult thing as a seller to deal with. I mean, for those of y'all out there that are like really struggling with like nightmare customer service, I am just so sorry because my people are the best on the whole, and I do not typically have that problem. I feel like it might even be helpful at this point because there are so many amazing small shops to have like a shopping small guide. Sure, certainly Etsy has done something like this, but one of the things I would put on a shopping small guide would be to never open up a PayPal case against somebody until you've contacted them. It's typically considered a little bit poor etiquette because you haven't even given the seller a chance to make it right. So always contact the small shop first because chances are they just don't know that there's a problem and they're more than willing to help you out if you give them a chance to actually do that. Yeah, filing claims with your bank before you've ever reached out. That would also kind of go on there. Assume the best of small businesses. I purchase from small shops every single month, multiple purchases. Lots of my background items are from small shops, and sometimes things go wrong. Like, they're not a corporation. I mean, heck, sometimes things go wrong with your Amazon package, you know? I have changed my gloves, and my hands are admittedly a little sweaty, which is why the fingers are sticking off, but I have placed all the gold things on. So now we have to place our pearls. And again, in future batches, this will probably be a little bit more specific, but without a grid, it's nigh impossible to get this right. Let's see, we've thought of a couple of other things we could probably include in the etiquette list as a buyer. So one of the things that I personally always look for before I purchase from a small shop is their turnaround time and their shipping times. So there is a difference between the courier shipping time and the fulfillment time. So when it says, ships out in 3 to 5 business days, that means it could be a whole week before that thing even leaves that person's home or studio. Then you have priority shipping, overnight shipping. That is the courier window. So that means once it leaves the fulfillment center, that's how long it's going to take the courier to get it to you. So as an example, we don't offer this, but if you purchased overnight shipping from Royalty Soaps, that does not mean you will get your soap the next day because our turnaround time is exactly the same. It just means once it gets into the hands of the shipping person, be that USPS, UPS, FedEx, etc., they will get it to you overnight. So that's something to always check before purchasing so that you aren't disappointed and you have realistic expectations, because I can see how that would be disappointing if you didn't understand how that works. It's always something that I check whenever I go shopping small, especially if I'm trying to hit a deadline for receiving something. Here's another one. The customer service email for a small business is not the same as like a help center for your personal crafting. So this could be applied to basically anybody, like jewelry makers, felters, quilters, what have you. Their customer service email is really for the customers. It's people who have bought from them and need help with their orders or recommendations for products. But that email is not for helping you learn how to do the craft, helping you with recipes, etc., unless it's relevant to something they're selling. So like the example for me would be, we sell the soap frosting club kit. You could definitely email our customer service if you have questions about the recipe in that kit, etc., etc. But I do not offer private soap making lessons. So if you have a batch go wrong, emailing my customer service is not going to be the fastest way for you to get help. You should definitely consult a YouTube video or perhaps a soap making Facebook group, because that is where you're going to get the assistance that you need. And of course, this next one probably goes without saying, but it's just such a nice thing for people who work customer service to see, which is a happy attitude and, again, benefit of the doubt. Whenever we receive emails, which again are like 99% of our emails, where people are kind and they are willing to work with us, that makes our job so much easier. And of course, we always want to give our customers the world, but again, makes it easier on the small shops to do their job and to not be distracted by, you know, insults. This is not something I personally struggle with, but again, I've heard horror stories from other small shops out there. I'm gonna go ahead and spritz the top of this with rubbing alcohol, and then of course, as my final statement, small shops are exactly that. They are small shops. We are not Walmart. We are not Amazon, and our stock is reflective of that. So we are going to be out of stock sometimes. As with royalty soaps, you guys know I may never bring back some of these designs. So get them while they have them, but don't expect to see the same things in stock all the time. It is much, much, much better just to email the customer service and ask them if they are planning on restocking, or look on their social media to see if that's even in the cards, because small shops like to change up their stock quite often. Just going to go ahead and add on the rest of my good glitter. The good glitter I chose for today is called Dragon's Delight, and hey, here's another small shop for you to support. You can use the code ROYALTY for 15% off your purchase. They are eco-friendly and biodegradable glitter blends, and I absolutely love them. And you want to talk about great customer service, the good glitter has it. So here we are all finished with mermaid tails. It is looking so beautiful, and yeah, we're gonna let it sit for 18 to 24 hours, and then we will come back and we will split the slab into loaves and cut the loaves into bars after this quick commercial break. All right, guys, so everything has been split up as it's supposed to be. These colors are giving me life. They look so good. I have lined it up with Evangeline, and I'm just gonna press down gently because we are gonna be splitting some of those embeds. Don't worry, it's still going to look good, and we'll use the grid in the future, just like I said, but still, gotta be careful for this one. Now, I made some really large indentations, like really, really large indentations on the side, and I'm thinking that it paid off because it really does look so wavy. It looks beautifully textured. Like, I don't have a single complaint. I'm not changing a darn thing about these bars. They look exactly how I wanted them to. The glitter looks great on top. I mean, look at the swirls. Like, every single bar is so individual, so unique. I always aim for that whenever I am making soap. I always want all the bars just to look the most unique and the most individual that they can. It does look like I have a little bit more swirliness on the bottom, and then it's a little thicker on the top. Who knows? The next batch may not be like that. There's kind of just no telling. It'll do what it wants in that respect. This mermaid soap is called Mermaid Tails. If you're looking for it on my website, it will be available with the rest of the Night at the SKATIUM collection. So if you're wanting to search for it, that's how you're going to find it. We recently updated the look of our website just a little bit. We're actually in the planning stage of doing like a really big website overhaul, but I did update update it a little bit so that you guys could find what you need a little faster. I saw that there were some things y'all were looking for that you couldn't find, and I just wanted to make the homepage look a little prettier. So if it looks a little bit different, that's because I worked really, really hard with my limited website abilities to fix it all up pretty for you. And question of today, what is your favorite mocktail? I am all aflutter about mocktails recently because I really like making drinks for my siblings that look super pretty, but obviously all of my siblings are underage that I would be making the drinks for. So I love finding pretty mocktails, especially ocean-inspired ones. So give me some things to search if you have a favorite. All right, guys, let us go ahead and stamp our mermaid soap. So I had to add a little bit of a mermaid something. In the past, I haven't. It has just been like mermaid treasure, and all it had was the seashells on top. But this time I thought a stamp would be super nice. So I'm just gonna spread out this golden mica here. This is King Tut from Mad Micas. I'm gonna place one of my soaps here, and then I'm gonna make it look like the mermaid. Here's my little mermaid tail, and I'm gonna try to make it look like the mermaid is swimming away. So I'm gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna press down gently and pick it up. Oh, beautiful! Ugh, obsessed. Look how fun! Oh man, Lily's gonna lose her mind. All right, same thing with this one. Just kind of wheedle it, waddle it back on. All right, let's see about this one. All right, lots of really good consistency here. I'm so pleased. Now again, it does look like I waited a little bit too long. It has been sitting here for a few days, so that's what I've learned this month about these particular soaps, is that I really need to do them sooner. Sometimes you can wait like up to 2 weeks before stamping your soaps and they turn out just fine, but you can see where I am just displacing soap, and instead of just imprinting it, it's like coming off in these little chunks and then it's staying on the design. So it'll look a lot cleaner if I stamp it a lot sooner. But this is another one of those things where it's like, it's a handmade product, you know? It's not gonna be perfectly stamped every single time, but there will be like a minimum threshold of it has to look at least this good or it's not going out, you know what I mean? All right, last one. Go ahead and press it on right here. I'm gonna press a little more gently on this one. Let's see what happens when I do that. Ah, a little lighter. Well, maybe I just needed to be applying less pressure. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. You know, maybe share it with a friend. I actually don't know at this point what helps the algorithm. I remember that from whenever YouTube was like a thing, and the popular YouTubers would be like, please click the share button. It really helps. Or they would be like, please subscribe. It helps so much. I have no idea what helps anymore. I really don't. I've stopped caring, really. If you enjoyed it, honestly, that's enough for me. Don't even bother. We just like chatting. That's why I'm asking you to leave a comment, is because Caroline and I go through and read them all. Be sure you do something fun for yourself today, whether that's going out and pretending to be a mermaid in the pool. Listen, nothing makes me feel alive like seeing TikTok and Instagram videos of those gals in the mermaid, like it looks like a real mermaid tail, and they're just swimming out in the ocean, living their best life. It's the best. So if you need to go do that today, awesome. If you need to make a mermaid themed dessert, that is also awesome. Of course, I don't really care what you do. Just be sure you do something for you, and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, bye for now. Meow.